22 persons suspected to be spies have been arrested in the Iranian province of with an apparent military insider media that operate with a verified social media handle, Iran Armed Forces stating that the 22 individuals were linked to Israeli intelligence services, and police authority in according to AFP, confirmed the arrest of the 22 persons the police said are Israeli spies. This, Israel Defense Forces, IDF, in a statement issued on Saturday morning said that Israeli troops in a precise attack killed the commander of the Palestine Corps of the Quds Force, Saeed Azadi, in According to AFP, police in Iran's province said Saturday that 22 people, linked to Israeli spy services, had been arrested since June 13, Fars news agency reported. 22 people were identified and arrested on charges of being linked to the Zionist regime's spy services, disturbing public opinion and supporting the criminal regime, the agency said, citing the head of police intelligence in Iran's province. It came after Iranian police announced the arrest on Thursday of 24 people accused of spying for Israel and of seeking to tarnish the country's image, according to a statement carried by Tasnim news agency. A European national was also arrested for spying, Tasnim reported on Friday, without giving their nationality or the date of the arrest. Iran regularly announces arrests of suspected spies. Several have been executed in recent weeks. Norway-based NGO Iran Human Rights said at least 223 people have been arrested nationwide on charges related to collaboration with Israel, cautioning that the actual figure was likely higher, AFP stated. Meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin of Russia on Friday said he has secured Israel's pledge to safeguard Russian personnel at Iran's Russia-built nuclear power plant and that he has reached out to both sides to try to end the week-old war. He stated this while answering questions on a variety of issues at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. Putin, who spoke in a native as interpreted in English, said that Russia has proposed some ideas for a possible settlement between Iran and Israel that are currently being discussed. He said Moscow asked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to ensure the security of Russian personnel who are working to construct 2 more reactors at the nuclear power plant in Iran's port of Bushehr, and that he also raised the issue with US President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Netanyahu has agreed with that, and President Trump has promised to support our legitimate demands, Putin said. President Putin rejected allegations that Moscow has failed to back its ally, Tehran, saying the Kremlin has maintained good ties with both Iran and Israel. He noted that Israel is home to nearly 2 million people from Russia and other former Soviet nations, saying, a factor that we always have taken into account. At the same time, Putin said, Russia has always met its obligations to Iran, adding that Moscow has firmly backed Tehran's right for the peaceful use of nuclear energy. He voiced concern about the spiraling conflict, saying we are strongly worried about what's going on around the Iranian nuclear facilities and possible consequences. Al Jazeera reported on Saturday early morning that Iran had launched an early morning missile attack on central Israel, resulting in a fire in Holland, as several Israeli attacks were reported, including on Iran's Isfahan, home to a key nuclear research center. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and his country remains open to diplomacy, but Israel's attacks must stop first. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has said Saeed Azadi, the commander of the Palestinian Corps in Iran's Quds Force, has been assassinated in an attack on an apartment in the Iranian city of Earlier, we reported that an Israeli aircraft bombed an apartment in the city, 140 kilometers, 87 miles, south of Tehran, killing a 16-year-old. It's not immediately clear if both individuals were killed in the same attack. Announcing Azadi's death, Katz said he had funded and armed Hamas ahead of the October 7th massacre. Azadi's assassination is a huge achievement for Israeli intelligence and air force, justice for the murdered and kidnapped. Israel's long arm will reach all its enemies, he said, according to Al Jazeera. Israel Defense Forces, IDF, in a number of tweets on Friday night till Saturday stated that Saeed Azadi, a founder of the Iranian regime's plan to destroy Israel, was eliminated in a precise IDF strike in the area of Azadi was also the commander of the Palestine Corps of the Quds Force, a key coordinator between the Iranian regime and Hamas, and one of the main orchestrators of the October 7th massacre. He was responsible for military coordination between the senior commanders of the IRGC and the Iranian regime with key figures in Hamas. As part of his role, Azadi was responsible for increasing the financial funding from Iran to Hamas for terrorist activities against Israel. During the war, he was also responsible for directing Hamas forces operating from Lebanon. Since then, he has been committed to rebuilding Hamas military wing and ensuring that Hamas remains the controlling authority in Gaza. 3 surface-to-surface missile launchers prepared to fire a barrage of missiles towards Israel were dismantled. Additionally, a remotely piloted aircraft identified a group of Iranian soldiers, including an IRGC base commander in western Iran responsible for 15 missile launches, en route to carry out a launch. The cell was eliminated. IAF fighter jets struck the Iranian regime's internal security HQ and the HQ of the regime's special internal security units in Tehran earlier this week. When the world asks why we're fighting Iran, this is your answer. The IAF continues its mission to maintain aerial superiority in Iranian airspace. Fighter jets struck several Iranian missile systems and radar installations in the areas of Isfahan and Tehran, which were intended to target IDF aircraft and disrupt their operations. This strike expands the freedom of aerial operation in Iranian airspace, following the breakthrough to Tehran. Fighter jets and other aircraft of the Israeli Air Force continue to operate freely in Iranian skies, striking military targets of the Iranian regime in western and central Iran. What did the IDF accomplish in Iran overnight? 60-plus fighter jets struck dozens of military targets in Iran using approximately 120 munitions. Several industrial sites used to manufacture missiles were struck in the Tehran area. These sites served as a key industrial center for the Iranian Ministry of Defense. The SPND headquarters in Tehran was struck. This building was used for the development of advanced technologies and weapons supporting the Iranian regime's military capabilities. 4 UAVs launched from Iran were intercepted, IDF stated. An apparent insider media, Daily Iran Military reported that, in the past few hours, an undisclosed number of advanced Arash-1 and Arash-2 long-range attack drones have been launched at Zionist cult terror sites across occupied Palestine. On the other hand, the US President, Donald Trump had told reporters that next week is going to be very big, as he reiterated his demand for Iran's unconditional surrender amid the conflict with Israel. Trump, according to several media reports, considered joining Israel in attacking Iranian nuclear sites. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed on Wednesday that Israeli strikes hit 2 centrifuge facilities at the TESA Karaj Workshop and Tehran Research Center in the Iranian capital. Centrifuges are machines used to enrich uranium. At the Tehran site, one building was hit where advanced centrifuge rotors were manufactured and tested, the IAEA said in a post on X social media. During the week, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, reacted to US President Donald Trump's warning that the country should unconditionally surrender, saying Tehran doesn't answer well to the language of threat. He also said Israel's attack on Iran is a huge mistake. In words, the Iran supreme leader said, "The US president threatens us." With his absurd rhetoric, he demands that the Iranian people surrender to him. They should make threats against those who are afraid of being threatened. The Iranian nation isn't frightened by such threats. It was already suspected that the US was involved in the malicious move carried out by the Zionist regime, but considering their recent remarks, this suspicion is growing stronger day by day. The Zionist regime's malicious attack on our country took place at a time when Iranian officials were indirectly engaged in negotiations with the US side. There was no indication on the part of Iran that signaled a military move. The harm the US will suffer will definitely be irreparable if they enter this conflict militarily. The US entering in this war is 100% to its own detriment. The damage it will suffer will be far greater than any harm that Iran may encounter. It isn't wise to tell the Iranian nation to surrender. What should the Iranian nation surrender to? We will never surrender in response to the attacks of anyone. This is the logic of the Iranian nation. This is the spirit of the Iranian nation, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, stated. We had reported that the India Ministry of External Affairs, in a statement issued on Tuesday, says the government of India has moved India students in Tehran out of the Iranian capital city due to safety concerns following the continuous exchange of air bombardments between Israel and Iran, while at the same time, the government of India advised other citizens in Tehran that can afford their own transport fare to leave the Iranian capital city immediately, adding that some citizens of India have been evacuated out of Iran completely through the border with Armenia. The India embassy in Israel had on Sunday advised persons of India origin not to move unnecessarily in Tel Aviv, and they should obey safety instructions from the Israeli authorities and Home Front Command. We had reported that the ongoing military campaigns between Israel and Iran on Monday did not spare journalists, as the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting IRIB building in Tehran was hit by Israeli missile, with the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, saying that the media was one of the Israeli military targets to block the military communications of Iran armed forces, which the Iran armed forces immediately retaliated with ballistic missiles fired into Israel, and IDF, in a statement issued late hours on Monday, confirmed that millions of Israeli residents are currently running into bomb shelters, with air raid sirens sounding across several places in Israel. A video currently trending on social media showed the TV host, Sahar Amami, fleeing the studio when the station was hit by a missile during a live broadcast, although there are reports from Iran that the state media resumed normal operations minutes after the attack. But there are unconfirmed reports that some journalists were killed in the attack as part of the building was completely on fire. This international news agency, Reuters, put the total deaths recorded so far since the war began on Friday at 248, quoting Iranian source of Iran suffering 224 deaths, and Israeli source saying Israel has recorded 24 deaths. We have reported that not less than 100 persons, mostly civilians, have been confirmed dead less than 48 hours since, on Friday early morning night, Israel and Iran began new massive waves of offensive military campaigns that have forced commercial airplanes to avoid the troubled Middle East airspace as the two countries fly missiles of mass destruction in the air corridors, with local media confirming Iran ballistic missile killed 10 persons and injured more than 20 others at a single building struck at Bat Yam city in Israel, as the angry Iranian soldiers launched a massive all-night continuous air bombardments campaign against the state of Israel that earlier on Friday began the new offensive military campaign when it flew fighter jets to strike Iranian military homes, nuclear weapon facilities, killing Iran nuclear weapons scientists, military leaders including Iranian Chief of Staff and Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, alongside almost 60 civilian death casualties. President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S., in a statement issued on Friday shortly after Israeli attack via his personal verified social media handle on his own Truth social media platform, praised and boasted about the military strength and capability of Israel, saying, "Things will only get worse for Iran because he gave them a chance to make a deal but they ignored the chance," adding with some level of mockery that the Iranian hardliners who spoke bravely are now dead as a result of the Israel attack on Iran, saying with emphasis that the US produces the best lethal military equipments anywhere in the world, and Israel already has a lot of the US military leather equipments, adding that Israel knows how to use the weapons and more will be giving to them. And in another statement issued also through the Truth social media platform on Saturday, shortly after the unprecedented military parades to mark the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States Army, President Donald Trump threatened to unleash the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces to attack Iran at a level never seen before if Iran dare attack U.S. in any way, shape or form. claiming that the US had nothing to do with the Israeli attack on Iran. Reacting earlier, Iran's Supreme Leader, Imam Saeed Ali Khamenei said Iran will retaliate Israeli attack with a strong response of no mercy, just as Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said Israeli attack on Tehran on Friday killed military commanders, nuclear scientists, women and children, while wishing President Donald Trump and U.S. Armed Forces happy birthday on Saturday. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu alleged that Iran made an attempt to assassinate President Donald Trump twice, adding that Israel attacked the military and nuclear facilities in Tehran on Friday because Iran was building intercontinental nuclear weapons that could be used to destroy Israel and any other country in the world.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.